Okay, we're here with Juan. Juan, you've had quite a journey so far in crypto. Tell us a little bit about how you got into it and what you've been doing in the last couple of years.
Yeah, so I actually started here in Toronto. I started going to the Bitcoin meetup that Anthony DeLorio hosted out of Decentral. He had a really nice location on King Street, and there was an incubator, and they were doing a lot of cool things, a lot of cool startups. So I ended up going every week and learning a lot about crypto from people that were going there. This is about 4 years ago, maybe 4 to 5 years ago. I actually was an intern at Decentral and everything. And then from there I started doing journalism. I started writing about crypto, and overall, up to date, I've published about over 400 pieces of content, text, audio, video content, and do a lot of tweeting and stuff like that. So I've kind of played the journalist sort of role. Some of the highlights were the debate with Roger Ver about Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash. A very heated topic last year, and it's still, like, up to this day, there's still energy behind that, even though, thank God, it's finally kind of cooling off, you know. Other than that, I'm doing, consulting and helping people, helping startups and people kind of understand this space, because there's a lot of complexity, right?
And on that subject of complexity, some of the things you've been writing about, atomic swaps, how would you give us a high level of atomic swaps and your take on that?
Yeah, so atomic swaps are really interesting. They're kind of like the mecca of crypto in a sense. Like when crypto was created, people wanted to do, like, part of the vision was to be peer-to-peer. But then in order to enter crypto, you had to buy it from somewhere, and if you want to, the easiest way is to get into a centralized exchange, and then there's this point of centralization there, right? So there's people that have been working on for a while ways to, like, remove that trusted third party, and that's a lot of what atomic swaps is about. So it's a special smart contract that you can use between two blockchains to swap coins between owners in a trustless way, and it's actually trustless. There is actually no trusted third party, and the solutions that are out there are open source, and they're sort of actively working on it. They are on chain, so they're slow, and you gotta wait for confirmations. So they're best fitted for, like, high value trades between people that don't know each other very well, right? And that's right now probably what it's being used for. Very low volume, but it seems to me that that's an area that, well, it's definitely growing. There's over, like, 200 startups working on this right now, like, that I've seen. There's, like, a list, and then but very few that are actually getting volume. And one of the problems is that your startup comes up with a way of an order book model, and my startup has an order book model, and our order books don't talk. So we end up with silos again, right? And so there needs to be a kind of, I think, to really deliver the vision, there needs to be an industry sort of discussion about how to standardize the order books and how to really make it so that all these different platforms work with each other. So that would be kind of like where the next step, I think, would be on atomic swaps.
Excellent, makes sense. Now, last year was the first atomic swap actually executed on between two blockchains?
Yeah, it was the first Lightning atomic swap, I believe, between Bitcoin and Litecoin. So the Lightning network uses the same features as atomic swaps. It's multi-signature and time locks. It's the same two technologies, except it uses it in a little bit of a different way. So because it's so similar, you can actually connect Lightning networks between Litecoin and Bitcoin and exchange in a much faster, higher volume way. And so that's what I believe what maybe you're talking was very high profile in this space. One of the companies that I've worked with, Komodo, they've done something like in the hundreds of thousands of atomic swaps. A lot of it are like tests, sort of try to see how much they can do, right? And yeah, so there's definitely, the technology is proving itself, but it's still, there's a lot of work, especially interface and the order book stuff. It might be the thing that turns the blockchains from a trading game to an actual internet, where you don't have to go through the exchanges to move into other things, right? Like Ether Delta might be something that people are familiar with. It's a decentralized exchange inside of Ethereum, but it's a silo exchange because it's not connected to other blockchains. It lives inside of Ethereum. So interconnecting silo exchanges through atomic swaps, and then adding a Lightning network sort of level volume and velocity to that. That, to me, that's as far as I can see it. That's the cutting edge that I can see, and hopefully we do get to some place like that.
A few people have brought this subject up of everyone's kind of siloed out at the moment. and one of the biggest obstacles, or one of the most important things to achieve, is this idea of interoperability and cooperation and collaboration, because that's going to obviously bring much greater network effects and bring greater adoption and a whole lot of things into the space.
Yeah, it's sort of like different websites talking to each other, right? That might be some vague way to analogize it. And yeah, I mean, we'll see where things go. You know, one possibility is that one blockchain dominates all of them and then everything's built on top. That's a possibility. But I think even then there's going to be like niche blockchain implementations that solve very specific issues, and they're going to have to talk to the network somehow. And if there's efficiencies in bypassing third parties in the middle, then atomic swaps are probably going to be the way to do it.
What do you think of the conference, Futurist Conference?
So far so good. It's very exciting. There's a huge amount of companies involved here, some very interesting projects, a lot of talent here. Like, this feels like the Toronto Bitcoin conference of this year, or crypto conference of this year. Running into a lot of people that I've met, you know, over the years, so having a good time.
Now, you've been in the space for a while. It's fair to say you're an OG. Where do you see things going next year, the year after?
It's tricky. I mean, Bitcoin is strong. It's very strong, and I think we might see what they call a capitulation event, or some even people go even as far as say like an extinction level event of a great portion of altcoins. That doesn't mean all of them. Some of them are going to survive, and that's going to be the best ones. But we're going to see, I'm not convinced that this year we're going to see another altcoin moon like we've seen in the past 5 years. We'll see, you know, I definitely hold some out, so to some degree I hope it happens. But I feel like the sentiment has changed to some degree. And like, how big can these blockchain networks really get, you know? Like, one thing is currency. Currency is, in general, a big market cap, right? And like anything that's betting markets, right? Like, that's where you get into, well, there's a huge amount of money on the betting market that's way bigger than currency in the normal sort of markets, right? So like trying to bet on random events, right? But like some of the biggest companies in the world, Facebook, Amazon, they have, you know, I think Amazon just hit $1 trillion market cap.
Apple, but Amazon's probably not far behind, I think.
Yeah, these people are giants. Like, you can't compare most blockchains to something like Apple. And so to get valuations that high is somewhat unrealistic. So I think we're going to see some maybe different things this next wave.
Great to chat to you. Tell us where people can find you.
Yeah, so my name is Juan Galt. You can find me at juangalt.com. I'm on Twitter.
Cool. Thanks, brother. Yeah.